to stick with the NBA because an absolute legend, who I actually think, Robin, you might agree with me, probably doesn't get as much love as he should.
You know what I think it is, though, Chris? I'm going to say this.
Should I give his name first?
Yeah, give his name.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Dr. J. And, Rob, we know in the late 70s, he was the face of the NBA. The late 70s, he was the face of the NBA. I'll throw this out before you give your take. Look, I give him 3 rings because he won 2 in the ABA.
With the New York Nets.
New York Nets, when the ABA in their exhibition games was beating the NBA more often than
And we
not.
all know there's a lot of great players who played in the ABA.
Right.
I mean,
It's Dan
Alex
Russell,
English.
George Gervin, Moses Malone, Alex English. You can go on and on down the line. Rick Barry.
it wasn't a bad league. It was a fun league. It was a good league.
It was more like the NBA than the NBA today. Than the NBA was back
the
then.
The NBA stole a lot of stuff that the ABA used to have.
The three-point shot, the slam dunk contest, the cheerleader, scantily clad cheerleader, should I say? But also, Rob, if we give the credit to Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and even Lou Alcindor, Oscar Robertson, the Knicks, guys that won their NBA championships when half of the best players in the world were in the ABA, then we should do the same for Dr. J and some of those guys in the ABA. So I think quickly the reason he doesn't get the I don't say respect. Everybody respects Dr. J. But maybe the accolades or the discussion that he should is, in my view, because they lost. That's not just because they lost, but he didn't win that championship. Remember, he kept getting there with the Sixers. I think he had been there 3 times, and they always lost in the finals. And then when Moses Malone went there, they finally won that championship in '83. But if Dr. J, and this still hurts my heart, Rob, they were up 2-0 on Bill Walton and the Portland Trail Blazers in 1977, his first year in the NBA. If he had won that championship and had 2 in the NBA, 2 in the ABA, I think he would even be held in higher regard than he already is.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm going to say, Chris, Dr. J was understated. Not glib.
Not his game, but
right. The way he handles himself, I think that's
classy.
Right, classy guy, but really didn't say a lot.
Right.
And I think that hurts him. And I'll put him in the same class. Of Joe Montana was like that too, Chris. And both of them failed when they went on television. Yeah. Both of them. And both great players. Am I off on this?
I say a lot of times, you've heard me before, that some guys I thought would be good. I thought Dr. J was going to be awesome. Now, he had more personality for sure,
right? But
in Montana.
But you know what I'm saying. But he didn't work on television.
He was too soft-spoken.
Right, and
he didn't have the energy. He was articulate. He's handsome. He's obviously
he had a lot of stuff, right?
But he was just probably too soft-spoken. Now, if he came today, maybe he'd be more. Because, at that time, it was still, how do I have to behave? You know what I mean?
No, I get it, but I think that works against him. I really do.
Oh, just in terms of like
about like the buzz about him, and because there's not a lot of sound of him, or like I just think that some people have more personality. Like even Charles Barkley didn't win anything, but he made noise when he was a player. Like you knew who he
and still making.
But you know what I'm saying? I just think there's a little different. I'm saying. I think there's a little of that, not just on the court, who he is, but you know what? He had something to say.
Right, he said something now. So, like I said, he might be different nowadays, but he was on whose podcast, Rob G? He was on a podcast recently.
And had something to say.
And was talking about the players hopping around from team to team. Here's what he said.
But these guys, since the prisoners are running the show and not the warden,
Wait. What?
They just decide,
what does that mean?
It just where a star player on the team is like, screw this city and all that support that they've given me, and I'm going south. I'm going to Florida, or I'm going to L.A., or I'm going to Texas, or I'm going somewhere else. So, these decisions, and they're business decisions.
Right.
I understand.
Right.
Or whatever. But they have not helped the game. They have not helped to keep the parity within the game. You build these super teams.
So the hot topic right now is Damian Lillard going to the Heat. Dame has never hopped around. He's proven his loyalty to Portland, and they just haven't been able to provide the right team for him to compete anymore. So are you against that move?
Well, wherever he goes, he probably will finish his career because of his age and the fact that he's played 12, 13 years, and he wants to have a chance at winning the championship.
Right.
And he doesn't think he can get it there.
Right.
So that's a good reason,
Yes.
for him. But a guy 26 or 27
Hopping
just wanting to hop around. Look at how many times Durant has hopped around. No, for real. OKC to Golden State to where do you go after that? Now he's in Phoenix.
All right, that was Joy D'Angela. Her podcast that Dr. J was
I never
on.
miss her podcast.
And look, Durant's hopped around so much that Doc I actually forgot a team. He forgot Brooklyn.
Right, right.
But Rob, what do you think?
No, I mean, we've heard this from other players.
Man, we know Durant goes at it with Barkley.
Right.
Walt Frazier said
had
there's
something.
An
He's an
asterisk by
all-time
his
great.
championships.
Yeah,
And now you got
and
Dr.
players see this, and he's right. There is a part of it, Chris, that does hurt the league. It doesn't mean when you're a free agent, you can go wherever you want, but to demand trades out of contracts and stuff, it's a little over the top. And in Durant's case and Harden, I mean, it's a mockery. Those two. Harden especially.
And Durant has asked out early.
He's asked out. I mean,
he left Golden. Look, he was
left Golden State as a free agent there.
Okay, Golden State,
right.
yeah, and Brooklyn.
But he asked out, and when you start to see guys, as he said, in their prime, this is not you're at the end of your career, your last 3 or 4. I want to try to get on a team where maybe give me a shot,
Lillard,
which is something you could feel a little more compassion for. But when guys don't even want to put up the fight on their own, to say, I want to win this and I'm here and we can get the right pieces or add another piece or whatever. So I understand why players are, because Michael Jordan played in a historically bad Chicago Bulls team, Chris, that couldn't win anything.
Terrible.
And he didn't get the big free agents. People weren't coming. And he was able to stick around, put some pieces together, and win big. So when people see that, they have an appreciation for it. It's about what we talk about. The journey is a part of the whole thing.
Right.
And that's why it tastes so sweet at the end, Chris, because early on it was dry. And I didn't know if I was going to really get there. And finally I get there. And I remember when Jordan won his first, the tears. And you look at that was all real.
Climbing that mountain. Nah, Rob, remember we talked about it last week. I think it was last week or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. We were shocked at how many of the older guys don't have LeBron in their starting 5. And I'm not saying it's a ton, but, the few we've
and
seen
it wasn't
out
a
there,
rip job on Barkley.
don't.
I just want to say for the guys who are putting out those videos.
Right, but you heard my reasoning was that I think some of the guys are bothered by the jumping around, stacking the deck, so to speak.
Yep.
Look, you and I don't hold it against LeBron. I didn't hold it against him when he went to Miami. But it is different when I've used this analogy, Rob. If I go to the park tomorrow morning here in Vegas, I go out to the park and brothers are hooping, and I watch for a few hours and I say, all right, these are the 4 best players. I want to play with them, and we run the court for the rest of the day.
It ain't the same.
It ain't the same as if I roll up there like, yo, I got who want to run? And I take whoever it is, and I don't know if they can play or not, and we run the court for the rest of the day.
Right.
It's just a difference. And I think that's how – now, look, they didn't have the freedom of movement that these guys had. They didn't grow up playing the AAU circuit and playing with stacked teams and all that like these guys did. So maybe they would be the same if they grew up in this era. But I think that is how they look at it. And I get that because sports is about competition, Rob. And it does – sometimes it's like, well, do you really want to just beat – do you really want to beat the best or you just want to win?
Because we think about this, and this is no disrespect, and obviously, Chris, it's an exhibition more, but it's like the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals. Do you know what I mean? Like, Like,
Yeah, nobody gives them credit for winning. It's
exactly.
It's a show.
It's a show. It's not like a real competition,
Right.
and that's not what you want to be a part of. You want there to be pushback. Maybe they don't beat. Maybe they can't beat us.
Right.
Maybe we really got to put in our all to get this thing done. If you know every night you're going out, you're going to win. Trust me, you lose.
And
we're
Rob, we are seeing it. I mean, but so many of these legends that come out and say something, it's kind of like this. And so, it is what it is.